So progressives are going to need to watch out because to combat the rabid socialism of the AOCs and the Squad, a group of freshman Republican congresspeople have decided to form their own group known as the Freedom Force. And so we're going to play this clip. I have it at 1.5 speed. That way we can get through more of it. And so I'm going to play it and then we'll talk about it along the way.
Of holding the line against Democrats' radical agenda, newly elected GOP congressmen are banding together to form a squad of their own to be a check on AOC and her berry band of radicals. One of those members of the new Freedom Force, Congressman-elect Burgess Owens of Utah, joins me now. I love being able to say Congressman-elect. Congratulations, Burgess. You're such a nice guy, and I'm so thrilled for you.
Thank you so much, Lisa. I appreciate that.
So what is the Freedom Force, and what do you guys stand for?
You know, it's interesting because we have a group of people came in. We're very, very diverse, different backgrounds, colors, races, the whole bit. But what we all share in common is our love for our country. And what's so nice about this freshman team, and I just have to thank the American people across this country. We flipped over 14 seats, and we didn't lose one. And it was a message from American people. We just want to get back to basics. We love our nation. And this group will be talking against us, giving a contrast to the hard left. We have the Freedom Force versus Squad. We have a group of people who believe in our country, believe in God, country, family, respect for women and authority. And the other side that hates everything I just mentioned. So
just to jump right into it, I mean, one of the things is like to have respect for women. Like I don't know, I don't necessarily know if that's a trait of the progressive Squad, who are all women, that they hate women, that they don't respect authority and all this. I mean, these are all these weird signals that don't actually mean anything, because this was the thing about the Squad, is that maybe the Squad has been lumped together for like a weird like people have like weirdly like attributed different things to the Squad than what was originally. Like people said like, oh, it's because they're all young women, women of color. Like that's what people have said, that like the Squad, like that's what groups them together. But what really unites them is that they're all Justice Democrats. Like they're all none of them take corporate money. They all support a Green New Deal. They all support Medicare for all. And so it's just really weird that like, I think that these people have lost sight of that a little bit. Like there's very policy-driven reasons why the Squad is thought of as the Squad, and now there's been more Justice Democrats that have been come into Congress since then. But that's kind of the thing. And like maybe they called themselves the Squad, but there was also Ro Khanna originally. He didn't really get lumped into that Squad thing, but there was actually like a reason why they were a thing. But this is just a very bland and not actually anything uniting them. Now there is a little bit to it, so we'll keep playing.
American people drift toward light. They're going to love our message. They're going to love the policies put in place. The last segment, you talk about the middle class. We're all about making sure the middle class thrives. And that means small businesses. That means we can keep our income, get our kids educated. All those things Americans want for the next generation. And we're going to be able to get that message out in a very big way. And I look forward to that.
Well, and Burgess, you mentioned the diversity in the Freedom Force. So, but we've looked at, the past 4 years, all we've seen from the media, they've called President Trump racist. They've essentially said that he is Hitler. However, those attacks didn't work, because if you look at the numbers, President Trump did better than any other GOP candidate since 1960 with minorities. You look at among Hispanics, he improved his margins in 78 of the 100 majority Hispanic districts in the country. So why do you think those attacks didn't really resonate with minority voters?
Well, because unlike the leftists, which are racist, American people believe the same thing. We all want hope, one opportunity.
This is just the lazy line of attack that you see from these individuals, where they'll rag on Democrats, progressives, and say, oh, they care so much about identity politics, and oh my gosh, all they care about is identity politics. And then immediately, as soon as they feel like they have the chance, they're like, well, we're so diverse, and we actually, Donald Trump did, despite losing all the minority groups we're talking about, he did slightly better than Republican candidates before. Like, it's just there's this implicit, and then right there where he's like, oh, well, actually, just because leftists are the racist ones, like it's just so reflexive, and there's nothing actually behind it. There's no teeth to it. Like there's no reason for him to be saying the things that he's saying. But this is that's the problem. That's the thing. The Squad actually has policy behind it, and then so I'm not sure if he's going to get to it in this clip. To my understanding, at least what originally united this group that they're calling the Freedom Force, was that all of them either personally or had family members who fled regimes such as the Soviet Union or Fidel Castro's Cuba. I believe the newly elected congresswoman who kind of started the term, I think her parents came from Cuba after the Cuban Revolution, and so that's kind of where it comes from. But that's where I find this the most ironic, is that they say that they are combating, the evil socialism of people like AOC. But you would imagine that people who came from these actual places that experience somewhere like the Soviet Union, the first thing they'd be able to tell you is that the problem with the Soviet Union wasn't that everybody had healthcare, or it wasn't that they cared about the environment. It wasn't that nobody took corporate money. It was that they were incredibly authoritarian and that they were very oppressive. And, for example, maybe, in the Soviet Union, you'd see a very aggressive and sometimes even militarized police force. But all these new people, now, you'd think maybe these people, they support, something like police reform, criminal justice reform, maybe reducing mass incarceration, maybe demilitarization of our police. No. If you ask them about criminal justice reform, I guarantee the first thing that they will bring up is that defund the police is socialism. There's nothing that makes sense about this ideology. There's nothing that the flaws in the Soviet Union, in Castro's Cuba, were not these social democratic policies such as Medicare for all. There were the fact that there was, repression of speech, that there was, these authoritarian tendencies that are certainly, not even a characteristic of like the left, of like what we would consider the left, like what any reasonable person would define as the left. And so, it is very silly. I'm very excited to see what the Freedom Force, has to say going forward. I'm sure that they're going to be, I don't see, that's why I know, like people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, the congresswoman from Georgia, who's more on the QAnon side of things. She isn't part of this because I don't believe she had any family members that, fled oppressive regimes. But I'm sure we'll see a lot from her. Now we got the Freedom Force to look forward to. So it's going to be very interesting, this stark contrast between the progressive members that are coming in, Cori Bush, Jamal Bowman. It's going to make for an interesting 2 years. So I hope you guys, enjoy this video. If you disagree with anything I said, please leave a comment down below. But if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe, and have a great day.